Hi everybody, and welcome to the final video for the lecture and exercise on April 14th. So at this point, you will have examined all of your hypotheses and you will have come to conclusions about whether they were supported or not. So the final step is to complete a conclusion and recommendations section of a report. And so here what you're going to do is not only discuss which hypotheses were supported, but you're also going to go a step further and make some recommendations about what a policymaker or decision maker might do in response to your finding. So in this section, if you have hypotheses that were not supported through your analysis, there's really not a need to say much more than hypothesis X, Y, and Z was not supported. So you can start off this section by stating that you tested 6 hypotheses. The following hypotheses were not supported. Right? And that's really all you need to say about that. Here you're going to focus on what actually was supported. And so in addition to discussing succinctly what your findings were, you're also going to want to try to think about what might a police officer or policymaker do given this information. And so here I think it's going to be really important, at least in terms of writing this section, it's going to be really important to read page 111 to 113 of the Cheney article that I read you, because it's going to provide you with some pretty good information in terms of what should be included in this report, or this final section of this report. And beginning on page 13, he actually walks you through an example of conducting a real hypothesis testing approach. So I think you should read the whole article, but if you get to this point and you're kind of unsure, I would begin on page 113 and read through what Cheney describes, because he follows this process from start to finish, and he does a really good job of just illustrating how this process might look. In terms of what you might consider in terms of interventions, so let's think about the hypothetical data I created about freshmen. So in the previous video, I created that variable at the end, I completely made it up, and I purposely made it a positive relationship in terms of how freshmen influence crime. So the more freshmen that were appearing or who were living in a dorm room, the more crime that there was. And so one recommendation that might be offered based on that analysis would be we need to disperse freshmen more throughout the dorm. So rather than having freshmen concentrated in a particular dorm, we might spread them out through all of our dorm rooms so there's not such a great concentration at one. Right? So that would be a type of intervention that I'm looking for. There's a lot of great information on the web. Suggestion I would make is to go to www.popcenter.com, popcenter.com, and that is the Center for Problem-Oriented Policing. You could just put that in a Google browser too. And on that website, they have all sorts of information that uses evidence-based solutions to crime problems. So even if there's not information specific to the problem or to the analysis that you did, or at least specific to the results that you come up with, there will be plenty of information that'll give you ideas about what I'm looking for here. So I'm asking you to dig a little bit deeper on your own in terms of coming up with recommendations. If you've taken my critical issues class, hopefully you'll kind of get where you should start in terms of thinking about how you might influence crime based on the findings, because in that class we went over various strategies like situational crime prevention and crime prevention through environmental design. If you haven't, those are terms you'll want to Google, and on the POP website you'll be able to read a little bit about that as well. So I'm not going to have any length requirements here in terms of your conclusions and recommendations, but for each supported hypothesis I want you to provide me with at least 3 ways in which you might influence this problem. So get creative. With that said, I'm going to end this video here. I'm going to put together a discussion board specific to this assignment that I will monitor. I have a link on Blackboard where you can upload your quiz. Speaking of which, the final quiz question, I'm actually getting 5 in this week. How exciting. The final quiz question is, I would like you to tell me the first thing that you are going to do when it's safe to go outside and leave our homes after this. What is the first thing that you want to do? What do you miss the most? All right, so that is your fifth quiz question. So there's a link to upload your quiz on Blackboard. As I said, the discussion board will be posted. I'll monitor that starting at 2 o'clock. And I've also provided you a place to upload your report. So I'm going to be looking for you to upload the Word document with all of your information filled in to Blackboard via the link under the content folder. All right, so good luck. I'll be watching the discussion board if you have any questions, and I will talk to you in another video. Have a good one.